My name is Matthew Spoke from the AION project, and I'm at Beyond Block's Tokyo Summit.
And thank you for your time, Matthew. So, you've been here now for almost a full day. How do you like the conference so far?
It's been great. I'm blown away by the turnout and the size of the event. There's a lot of really interesting projects that showed up. Some local that I hadn't heard of before, and some of the big global names that you'd expect to see at these conferences that also showed up in large numbers. So really good content so far.
Yeah, did you see any of the speeches?
I did, yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
It's the first time I heard Patrick Byrne speak. So, I mean, I've been hearing a lot about T0, and ironically, I mean, I'm advising T0, and I'd never been to one of his presentations. So to see him lay out his vision yesterday was really cool. And there was a panel yesterday that I found pretty interesting, the kind of VC versus ICO, or however they pitched it. It was an interesting discussion.
Yeah, Patrick Byrne was quite interesting indeed. A lot of people like that one.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And could you tell us a little bit about the AION project? What is it all about?
Yeah, so we're, the AION project is primarily focused on the problems of scaling and interoperability in blockchain systems. So what we're launching essentially is a new public blockchain that has kind of an added layer of how do you move messages between different blockchains. So the idea is that we want to be able to create decentralized applications and business processes that can tie into value and logic that sits on multiple blockchains. So we've been designing for that for the last couple of years.
That's pretty cool. So I know that your project is pretty similar to OneChain and Icon, and I know that you guys recently, in November 2017, announced that you guys created the Blockchain Interoperability Alliance.
Yep.
How is that going, and what's the ultimate goal behind the formation of this alliance of great projects?
I mean, I guess our kind of core premise is, to the extent that we can collaborate to accelerate the innovation going on in this space, we should. So there's a few angles of our architecture where we actually see similarities in other projects, and our kind of first reaction is, let's reach out to them and see if there's room for us to collaborate and share knowledge and do joint research rather than going at it alone. So the first implementation of that we did on our kind of bridging protocol is we noticed that OneChain and Icon were working on, I'd say, similar characteristics in terms of how do you prove transactions and data across different networks. So we had happened to know the two teams well for the last few years. So we started talking about, what's on your roadmap, what's on mine, stop thinking about each other as competitors and really start thinking about, can we accelerate each other's roadmaps by just opening our books, essentially. So we now have kind of a relatively regular engineering kind of knowledge sharing call where we tell each other who's working on what and how are we approaching solving problems. So the intent right now is really knowledge sharing. Eventually we see this probably maturing into some sort of standardization of how do you do cross-chain communication, but I think that's still years out. Right now it's really different hypotheses being tested in parallel and us just staying aware of each other's developments.
I see, that's pretty cool. So my last question for you, actually, can we expect any more announcements regarding this alliance in the coming months or so?
Yeah, probably. So we were together. I was with Dustin Byington and Jack Liu from OneChain, who are, Jack's here, I know he was speaking yesterday, and then Min Kim and JH from the Icon project. We were together in Hangzhou about a week and a half ago in China, talking about what's our roadmap, what do we want to do, how do we want to onboard new members to the Alliance. So we do have kind of some developments happening on that side. We'll be announcing a few new members within the next few months, and probably giving a little bit more insight to people as to what we're doing. I think we're going to be planning to do kind of a live webinar type thing so that people can kind of dial in and ask questions of the three projects and hear a little bit about the joint research that we've been working on.
So the Alliance is pretty much active?
It's very active. We see each other pretty regularly, and it kind of, this industry is funny because the people you work closest with also kind of become your best friends in the industry. Yeah. So now we make the point to travel together and do events together and go to conferences together, that type of thing.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So my last question for you now is, so 2017 was a big year for blockchain and for cryptocurrencies in general. What do you think about 2018? What's the trends that you see happening, or what direction the market takes? Just your general input into that.
I'm actually a little encouraged that things cooled down a bit, because especially in markets like Japan, and we just came from Korea, there was a lot of emphasis and excitement going into the trading side and the market opportunity of buying and selling these coins. I want to see the focus go back to who's building what, and get people focused on the right layer of this infrastructure. So I'm a little encouraged that when the market slows down, people are forced to start looking deeper under the covers and say, well, are you actually a legitimate project building legitimate technology? And with that lens, probably we'll find that a lot of projects don't make the cut. which I think will be a healthy thing for the ecosystem. We need to see, people focusing on actually evolving and, improving the systems that we're building.
Yeah, that's kind of the sentiment of most of the speakers here.
Yeah.
So that's always good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
Yeah,
for your
no
time.
problem. Pleasure.